Hello, and thank you for joining us today for another edition of Dialogue with the Dean. Today we're not coming live. Again, technical difficulties have caused us to record this video, so we'll be posting it a little bit later, and we certainly encourage you as you watch it to like the video, share the video, and if you have questions about the things we talk about today, be sure to post those questions on the comment section, and we'll check back and we'll post answers to those questions along the way. Our Executive Vice President for Research and Partnerships, Dr. Suresh Garamella. Suresh, thank you for coming over to the College of Pharmacy today and spending a few minutes with us to share with our alumni and friends some of the great things that are going on in the research enterprise at Purdue University. So thank you. So I'll just sort of lead us out with a general question. As you think about Purdue, what makes Purdue such a great place to advance research and the various disciplines that we have on campus?
Eric, thank you very much for inviting me to this lovely forum that you've got. I know the pharmacy alums are highly dedicated folks. I know I've worked with a number of them myself, so hello to everyone. So to your question, Eric, what makes Purdue a great place? I think it rests fundamentally in our land-grant mission. I think that over the years of us being in a land-grant school, we've addressed critical technologies and approaches to solving global challenges. Purdue, of course, what I like about Purdue a lot is that it's a comprehensive university. There are so many disciplines. There's almost nothing that you couldn't go find a faculty colleague in to plug into a more comprehensive team. Our faculty, our staff, our students are par excellence. I think we've got fantastic students that come here. Our facilities and such that we've been able to sort of keep up to date. And I think above all, there's a deeply ingrained culture of interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary research that is really critical today to solve the wicked problems, the big global challenges. And I'll compliment you because I think I've always found pharmacy faculty to be very sort of ecumenical, if you will, about working with any college and any other colleagues. So I think that's at the root of why Purdue is such a great place to do research.
So one of the roles in your position here has been to develop partnerships. And as you reflect on the past several years, what are some of the most meaningful, impactful partnerships that you've been a part of?
Eric, thank you. My role is unusual in that there's the word partnerships in my title. And we tried this construct. We started it a few years ago, and I had the joy of being the inaugural person in the role. I think it makes a lot of sense to think of research as being integral to partnerships, corporate, global partnerships, etc., because that's how you enrich the work we do. So in terms of examples, we've got a good number of great strategic partnerships, but given we're talking to a pharmacy audience, and also because they're among our top partners, I'd say our deep strategic alliance with Eli Lilly has just been a game changer for us, and from what I hear from them, for them as well. So we announced a $52 million 5-year partnership a few years ago, about a year and a half ago. And the critical thing there is that we wanted to sort of address large program areas and not look at little transactional small projects. And Lilly was kind enough to share with us things that were core to them. And so as an example, a couple of areas we're working with Lilly on is, so one of them is injectable biologics. As you know, sort of the delivery of biologic molecules which are larger, reducing the pain, and again, if you can inject more of the drug at a given time, you need to give fewer injections, and it also sort of increases compliance. So there are a good number of issues there that we're addressing. Another area is in connected solutions, which essentially treats the body as an Internet of Things system, and there's some great contributions our faculty are making in that space. As healthcare and medicine becomes more and more focused on digital health and personalized medicine, it's a great overlap between Purdue and Eli Lilly. There are a good number of other partnerships with Rolls-Royce, with Microsoft, with Ford, Chrysler, etc., but also with countries and with NGOs like Catholic Relief Services, for instance. They would consider us their number one partner in the country. Um, what's intriguing, Eric, and I want your audience to hear this, is that increasingly these partnerships are now spawning a, 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 a paradigm by which companies are coming to West Lafayette and locating their sort of research cells right by Purdue to capitalize on the great faculty and students we have. And so we had Rolls-Royce set up a building here, Schweitzer Engineering set up a building, and now the most recent announcement was with Saab. They'll be building their jet training, the training jet for the US Air Force here, and each of them brings 300-400 jobs. And so it's just been a very exciting time to work more closely with these partners and to truly put some definition around what this research and partnerships thing is all about.
Well, from my perspective, it really is. The last 3 or 4 years been a very, very exciting time, and seeing the engagement that we have with partners across the industries as well as NGOs and foundations is really an exciting thing to be a part of. And so this is our 150th anniversary year. We're still in the midst of that, and we have been focused on the theme of giant leaps. Research and the impact that our faculty have had in their disciplines is part of that story, that narrative of giant leaps. And so as you reflect on the impact that our faculty have had in their respective disciplines, what do you think are some of the greatest achievements that you recall, but where are we headed in the future?
Yeah. So I think I've been here a long time at Purdue, and this is the most exciting time that I can recall. It's just a great time to be at Purdue. I think it's palpable in the air here, and I'm hoping that our friends and partners are feeling it too. So as I said earlier, right, our research and scholarship contributes to the quality of life of our citizens in the state, around the globe, and our faculty and students care a lot about their research and scholarship having an impact on improving lives and livelihoods. And so, in fact, we featured this year's annual report. It says "This is Us," and it's available online. You can look for it. And this features exactly the answer to your question about why Purdue, what's special about us, our land-grant tradition, how widespread we are in the world. So I invite folks to look at this, and when they go to the site, they can also, of course, look at our heritage in terms of our contributions to space. These are all available electronically online. But so besides these areas, there's a very broad, Purdue's a big school. We contribute in many, many different areas, all the way from discovering the structure of the Zika virus that we did recently, our faculty did, which hopefully will accelerate the possibilities of actually finding cures and antidotes and such, all the way to building a quantum computer at Purdue. Microsoft chose Purdue as the one school at which we're actually building a quantum computer. So it spans a very broad range of disciplines and humanities, social sciences, engineering science, and so on. So I see, as all of us do, I think, the pace of technology accelerating more, each year than it ever has before. And just the way we're set up at Purdue, I see ourselves occupying an ever more prominent role at the heart of this new future. So I feel very strongly about it, that we're well positioned. And finally, I think our approach to making strategic decisions and strategic investments, like in our life sciences and our data science, integrative data science most recently, I think will position us well to address these grand challenge problems.
As many of our listeners probably know, in the very near future, you'll be transitioning to a new role as president at University of Vermont, and we wish you well as you take on that new role. But it's natural when we transition to reflect back on our time at a place, and you've been here just a little over 20 years, and that's a lot of memories. If you think back, what are some of the more memorable moments, or maybe one moment that stands out in your mind that you're going to reflect back on fondly as you move on?
Right. If you made me pick one, I'd pick this interview.
Oh.
So thank you for inviting me. But I've been at Purdue, as you said, Eric, for 20 years. My son was born here. My daughter was a tiny tot when we came here. So obviously, for me and my family, we've grown a lot in the community. We love the community. Purdue has taught me a lot. I've had the good fortune of contributing significantly to research and to education and engagement. But Purdue's given me a lot of opportunities to grow. I just am ever grateful to Purdue for all the opportunities and all the learning I got in the process. So of course it's exciting to go and take on new challenges and lead a new university. But there's certainly a strong element of sadness, and I'll miss a lot of what Purdue means to me, and I wish Purdue the very best, of course, in the next phase.
Great. Maybe you've got some questions for me.
I do. So, when we think about the research in pharmacy, I've some sense for what it is. But what are the areas of research that the College of Pharmacy focuses on?
We're very fortunate that our faculty really do focus on the breadth of research across a continuum of drug discovery, drug development, and ultimately then safe and effective use of medications in patients. And so many of our faculty work very early stage drug discovery, working at that chemistry biology interface, understanding molecules, understanding mechanisms of drugs, understanding fundamental biology, and then moving on to, if you've got a drug molecule, how do you formulate that or be able to package it in a way to get it into a human being, and all of the aspects of manufacturing and formulation and drug delivery and drug development. And then lastly, as we think about clinical practice, outcomes research, examples of new practice models to impact and improve health. Also thinking about education approaches and education technologies that can be applied not just to pharmacy education, which is important to us, but I think general education as a whole. So I think that's the continuum of research that folks offer here in the college.
That's fantastic. I can see why you're so well ranked and so well considered. So, a lot of students in the country and outside ask me often about research opportunities. So if they were to ask me why they should conduct research in the College of Pharmacy, what would be a good answer for me to give them?
Well, first I would respond and say there's a really good reason just to do research anywhere on our campus. And for me, whether or not someone ultimately pursues a career in research is not at that core. It may be, it exposes students to new opportunities for career paths, but it helps develop, I think, within a student an approach to solving problems that they will take and apply in whatever disciplines they're in. But within the College of Pharmacy specifically, we stand out amongst the 140 colleges of pharmacy in the country because there's really only 20 or 30 schools of pharmacy in the nation that have very, very robust and full research programs. And so there's an opportunity here again to work across the disciplines of the drug discovery, drug development to use in patients. And so we have this reputation as a global leader in drug discovery, drug development, and innovation. If a student is particularly interested in potentially a career in the pharmaceutical industry, for example, there's a real strong application of research here towards that area, and I think that provides that opportunity. So really, I think there's very few programs that can offer the breadth and depth of research experience and the research capabilities that we have within the college and at Purdue, as well as match up with the high quality of our faculty in their disciplines.
And really, Eric, what I've told many students when they've talked to me is my impression is that the college faculty in pharmacy are very open to working across disciplines. I think your faculty are really very open to working with the College of Engineering and Science and Health and Human Sciences and so on. So I truly applaud you for the culture you have in the college of working across disciplines and not being sort of siloed. And so maybe my last question to you would be, what are the research outcomes or the diseases, let's say, that your college is targeting? Because we all want to look forward to what great things are going to come out of the college.
Well, again, thinking across the spectrum of drug discovery and drug development, we have expertise across this campus that, to your point, we've tried to connect well with other initiatives on campus, like the life science initiative. So that means we have plugged in to cancer research. And so we have a very strong cohort of folks interested in cancer, infectious disease and inflammatory disease, as well as neuroscience, particularly as we think about neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. We have faculty that are investing in those areas. And so beyond that, we've got folks working in the interface of pharmacy and engineering, as you indicated, around pharmaceutical manufacturing and drug formulation, and really working across many disciplines in the pharmaceutical biotechnology space, which is a exploding area, and it's one where we want to be leaders in pharmaceutical biotechnology. And then lastly, specifically health services research, particularly as practice models, outcomes, clinical work that is being done. And we've got faculty working in the areas of cardiovascular disease and diabetes, for example. Smoking cessation is another area, and then probably substance use disorder, which is very important and very much in the news with the opioid crisis. And so our faculty are working on projects in all of those areas.
That's great. You know, your listeners should know that of the major $250 million investment we made, a strategic investment in the life sciences, there are 3 institutes that we started, and 2 of them are led by pharmacy faculty. So I really do appreciate their leadership on campus, and I think your college has a long way to go. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for being with me today, and certainly on behalf of all of us in the college, thank you for your leadership here at Purdue. We're going to miss you. You know, my prior role was as Associate Dean for Research, and so we had an opportunity to work very closely together. I count you as a colleague, a valuable colleague, but also as a personal friend. And so I look forward to hopefully staying connected with you as you move on to this new role, but wish you all the best, and know you have left behind, as we would say, maybe it's a bit cliche, but I think you've left behind some very strong footprints at Purdue that will continue to influence the research enterprise, I think, for the long term. And so thank you for your contributions.
Thank you very much, Eric. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you to our audience who you've taken time to listen and listen in today. And I'd encourage you again, if you have questions or comments, please make those. Like the video, share the video, and we'll connect with you. But again, thank you for joining us. And we look forward to hopefully joining you live next month. But until we join you again, as always, hail Purdue and boiler up.